Finally, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has decided to voice out. This is too much. He has decided to swallow his pride. He knows where he's heading to. Bola Tinubu, the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate, has written Godwin Emefiele, governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, outlining how to ameliorate the Naira situation, how to reduce the pressure. Let us be very fair to ourselves. We cannot keep fooling ourselves. Let us tell ourselves the truth. Let us tell ourselves the truth. This Naira redesign and all of this policy is affecting you as a person. And also, CBN governor decided to bring this at this time. It is more or less like a two-way approach. Nigerians are going to go through hardship. He cares less. His children are abroad. And he's also going to use this to attack politicians. Don't forget that we saw some of his campaign vehicles and he was never allowed. In fact, he did not win the APC primaries. In a statement titled, "Let us make the best of this moment," signed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former governor of Lagos State, he listed 5 action points for the Central Bank of Nigeria to follow. In his words, he said, "We feel the pains of our market women and artisans who have experienced low sales because customers do not have cash to make purchases. We hear the loud cries of farmers in rural areas and hinterlands who have been forced to sell their produce at much lower prices so they don't lose out completely. We hear every Nigerian dealing with the consequences of the rollout of the cash swap program. While the scarcity arising from the supply limitations of the new Naira note is still with us, we are encouraged about reports that the fuel queue across the country are easing out as a result of better supply to fuel stations. We are now confronted with how to bring quick, sustainable solution and relief to Nigerians on the challenges still posed by the non-availability of new Naira notes so that social and economic activities can move on unimpeded and normalcy can immediately return to our financial services sector and overall productivity of our nation. In seeking a quick resolution, the National Council of State met on Friday, February 10, 2022, and advised the government and central bank in particular to push more new Naira notes into circulation 2023 and also allow for the old Naira notes to remain a legal tender by ensuring supply gaps relative to infrastructural limitations are bridged by recirculating it to ameliorate the pains caused by the scarcity of new ones. We agree with the wisdom of the Council of State as a necessary starting point to begin redressing the unintended consequences of what would have otherwise been a good policy that required mainstream adoption. For the records, I and my running mate, Kashim Shetima, and our campaign council do not have anything against the CBN Naira redesign and cashless policy in principle. We are, however, only concerned about its disruptive implementation and the hardship it has brought on the generality of our people, who currently cannot access their hard-earned money to meet obligations and the attendant consequences on the informal sector where majority operate. Despite the challenges and current difficulties, we are a country of resilient, bold, and courageous people who do not succumb to hard times. We have always overcome our most difficult times and come out better as a people and a nation. This time will not be different. We will make lemonade out of our current lemons. To bring immediate relief to our people, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has advised the Central Bank of Nigeria to consider this following points. And I'm going to go through them very quickly. 1. Following the advice of the Council of State, the CBN should announce the old and new Naira notes, especially the non-withdrawn notes and coins, will coexist as legal tender for the next 12 months to allow to follow examples of countries that have successfully implemented similar monetary policy. And let us be very sincere. Which country have you seen, for those who live abroad, who are applauding this and claiming that, yes, there won't be any bribing of this person or the other? Which country have you lived abroad and they decide to do currency swap, and all of a sudden people are looking for notes? I do understand that you might say, and of course we all understand this, that you might say those countries do not stash money the way our corrupt politicians do, criminals do. Well, they do not stash money in that manner, of course, but they have their own ways of putting money in those countries, in the Caribbean countries also, but not like as corrupt as the people in Nigeria. I mean, the corrupt politicians in Nigeria do. Yes, that is correct. Two, he said, we advise the immediate suspension of the associated charges on online transactions and bank transfer and payment via POS until the current crisis is fully resolved. The cost should be considered a rollout expense by the CBN to incentivize the envisaged shift to alternative transaction channels for both the financial services consuming public and those in charge of implementing the scale-up program. That's true. The amount that people pay for POS, in fact, it is terrible right now. So let us be sincere about that. Three, say mobilize all money deposit banks, payment platform to show clear commitment and timelines on expanding their infrastructure and support services. Yes, there are banks that we saw stashing, hoarding that new currency. Bring in fintech companies with capabilities into currency swap program for the next 90 days to help decongest bank halls and ATM points where people queue up for hours. True. You see, these are points that I thought CBN would have worked on as a body that should know better. But unfortunately, they don't know. Or maybe they do, but they just want to make things hard. Look at it. 5. The central bank and other relevant MDAs should form an interagency action committee for immediate oversight over the cash supply gaps from the Nigerian Security and Minting Company and deal with issues around capabilities and turnaround time to meet the needs of the informal sector and unbanked people. 6. The Central Bank National Orientation Agency and Ministry of Information, state, local governments with their relevant organs in both the public and private sector should commence a major public enlightenment and sensitization campaign to further educate and empower our people on the new Naira note and cashless policy. You can't just throw things on people without them educating them on what you are trying to bring to them. Tinubu added that as a leader, our commitment to Nigeria every day must be on how to make it better for our people, how to make life better. We are called upon not to waste the opportunity the moment presents to us, to ramp up capacity and capability to serve 200 million Nigerians, leaving no one behind, and ultimately improving the living conditions of everybody. Our task now is to restore hope in the country by implementing these steps to energize our people. This is what we can do to make things better. This is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu decided to present to the Central Bank of Nigeria. He does not want to come out screaming and shouting, saying that, they did this because of me. No, that would be stupidity. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is more intelligent than that, even though he knows he has enemies and all of that. Yes, he knows he has enemies, but let us be sincere. Why should Bola Ahmed Tinubu bribe anybody to vote for him? Why should any candidate at all bribe anybody to vote for them? Do you know why? Hunger has been weaponized. People have become, how would I put it? They do not have that integrity themselves. Yes, they think it's only when you become president, that's when, or you occupy a public office, that is when we begin to talk about integrity. People do not have integrity also, apart from hunger that has been weaponized. What are your thoughts as regards this one? Let us meet at the comment section. Do not forget to like and share this video. See you in the next one.